My girlfriend's wellness retreat didn't feel right, so I drove there without her knowing. I've never been the jealous type. I don't snoop through phones, I don't ask loaded questions, and I've always believed trust is the foundation of any relationship. But something about that weekend made my chest tighten in a way I couldn't ignore. My name's Ethan. I'm 34, work in IT as a systems engineer, and I've been married to Lena, 32, for nearly 6 years. She works in marketing, has the kind of magnetic personality that makes people instantly like her, and she's always been the outgoing, spontaneous one between us. We don't have kids yet. She always said she wanted to travel more before settling down. I respected that. Last Thursday night, Lena told me she was going away for the weekend with her sister and cousins. Girls' getaway to a cabin upstate. She said they'd been planning it for months. No big deal. I've never had any reason not to believe her. But the next morning, as she packed, something felt off. She wasn't packing comfy clothes or hiking boots. Instead, it was tight jeans, cute tops, a full makeup kit, and heels. I asked, "You guys planning on going out or something?" She hesitated, then smiled and said, "Just for pictures by the lake." I nodded, but something in my gut pulled tight. I wasn't the suspicious type, but something about the way she packed made my chest tighten. It was just a girls' weekend, until it wasn't. She left around 10 a.m. Kissed me goodbye, said she'd text when they got there. By 3 p.m., no message. I texted her, no response. By 5, I checked her location on Find My. Turned off. That's when concern became alarm. Lena never turns off her location, especially not on a road trip. And I know her phone was fully charged. I handed her 2 portable chargers myself that morning. That night, I just sat on the couch, the TV muted. Her last text was, "Love you," at 10:13 a.m. After that, radio silence. By 8:30 p.m., I was already halfway packed. I wasn't going to cause a scene. I wasn't even sure what I was expecting. I just needed to see for myself. I knew the cabin. We'd gone there once for a family gathering years ago. The address was still saved in my Google Maps. I left at 10 p.m. 4 hours of driving, mostly in silence, the road lit only by headlights and questions spinning in my mind. At 2 a.m., I parked a few houses down from the cabin. It was dead quiet. One car in the driveway. Lena's. That was the first red flag. If it was a girls' trip, where were the other cars? I stayed in the car all night, just watching. At 6:52 a.m., the front door opened. A man stepped out. Tall, messy hair, barefoot, wearing a hoodie. He walked straight to Lena's car, grabbed something from the back seat, then strolled back inside like he lived there. Then I saw his face. It was Derek. Her ex? They dated for 2 years before we met. I'd only seen him once at a wedding where Lena introduced him as an old friend. She told me they hadn't spoken in years. So why the hell was he coming out of that cabin? Why was he alone? And where was Lena? I didn't move. I just sat there, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping me grounded. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I kept telling myself there had to be another explanation. Maybe the trip changed last minute. Maybe the other girls were coming later. Maybe Derek was just, what? Dropping something off at 7 a.m. in a hoodie? But in the pit of my stomach, I already knew. At 7:12, the door opened again. Lena stepped out. She was barefoot, hair wet, holding a mug of coffee, and wearing a hoodie I knew didn't belong to her. It was too big, and I was pretty sure it was his. She smiled at him. That smile, the easy one she usually reserved for mornings with me. She leaned in, said something I couldn't hear, and he laughed. Then she kissed him. Not on the cheek. Not a goodbye. A full, slow, deliberate kiss, like they'd done it 1,000 times before. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking. Part of me wanted to get out of the car, storm up to the cabin, scream at her, demand answers. But I didn't. I grabbed my phone, pressed record. For the next hour, I filmed. Them drinking coffee on the porch. Her sitting on his lap. him brushing her hair behind her ear. At one point she pulled out her phone and typed something, I assumed to me. A little red dot showed up on my screen. Lena is typing. Then, hey babe, no signal out here. Everything's good. Love you. I stared at that message while watching her feed another man scrambled eggs. That's when I knew this wasn't an accident. This wasn't some heat-of-the-moment mistake. It was planned, rehearsed. She lied to my face, packed for him, drove 4 hours to a remote cabin, and kept me in the dark while pretending she was off the grid. And what stung even more, she was good at it. She'd done this before. Maybe not with Derek, maybe not at this cabin, but this level of deception didn't happen overnight. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she didn't even seem conflicted. That day, I stayed in the car until sunset. I watched them take a walk by the lake. I watched them disappear into the woods holding hands. I watched the lights go out in the cabin, one by one, around 10 p.m. And all I kept thinking was, what else had I missed? How long had I been sleeping next to a woman capable of this? How many weekends had she gone to visit her sister? How many times had she looked me in the eye and told me she loved me, while spinning stories to cover up moments like this? At 2 a.m., I drove back home. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't sleep. Instead, I planned. When Lena walked through the door Sunday night, she looked tired, but not in the way someone looks after a peaceful girls' retreat. She looked worn out. Her hair was still damp. No makeup. Hoodie zipped up. But her eyes? Her eyes couldn't meet mine. She kissed me like nothing happened. Said she was exhausted. That the girls drank too much wine and spent most of the weekend talking about their childhoods. I nodded. Asked her if she had a good time. She smiled, soft and careful. Yeah, it was really good to get away. Then I pulled out my phone and played the video. No words, no lead up. Just her, in that same hoodie, laughing with Derek on the porch. The kiss. The walk to the lake. Everything. She froze, eyes wide, like someone had yanked the floor out from under her. Then, Ethan, I can explain. I didn't want an explanation. She tried to say it was a mistake, that it was just confusing seeing him again, that she didn't plan for it to happen, but it just did. I asked her how long it had been going on. She didn't answer. So I told her what I figured out on the drive home, that this had happened before. Not just Derek, maybe others. Maybe not physically every time, but the lies. The visits to her sister? The business trips? She didn't deny it. She just sat down on the couch, hands in her hair, and whispered, I didn't think you'd ever find out. That's what broke me. Not the cheating. Not the video. Not the lies. The fact that she had no intention of ever telling me. She was going to come home, crawl into bed with me, and keep living like nothing happened. Smile across the table, ask what movie I wanted to watch, maybe bring up baby names in a few weeks, like it was all normal. I told her to get out. She cried, begged, said she'd go to therapy, that she'd cut him off forever, that it was a wake-up call and she didn't want to lose me. I didn't yell. I didn't even raise my voice. I told her she lost me the second she decided I was stupid enough to never find out. And here's the part that still makes my stomach twist. As she packed, she kept texting someone. Not her sister, not her mom. I saw the name on the screen. Derek. Even in that moment, even as she stood there, caught, exposed, she was still choosing him. She left an hour later. I didn't follow up. I blocked her on everything. The only thing I kept was the video. I don't even know why. Maybe to remind myself of what happens when you ignore your gut for too long. It's been 3 weeks. I haven't told anyone except my brother. I haven't cried. I haven't slept much either. But I know one thing for sure now. Sometimes, the worst thing someone can do is smile at you while they lie.